Have you ever noticed that look your dog gives you sometimes? That head tilt combined with a squint of the eyes like they are trying to solve a puzzle they just can't quite figure out? We often think of our dogs as these unbreakable bundles of unconditional love, and in many ways they are. But trust in the canine world isn't a light switch that just stays on forever. It is more like a sand castle. It's built grain by grain through every walk, every meal, and every ear scratch. However, if you aren't careful, small, seemingly innocent habits can act like a slow tide, quietly pulling those grains of trust back out to sea. Most dog owners aren't trying to be difficult, but because we speak human and they speak dog, things get lost in translation. Today, we are breaking down 11 subtle mistakes that might be slowly chipping away at the bond you've worked so hard to build. If you want to make sure your pup looks at you as their ultimate safe harbor, you need to hear this. Let's get into the behaviors that are confusing your furry best friend and how you can fix them before that sandcastle disappears. The first mistake on our list is something almost every busy owner is guilty of, and that is being completely inconsistent with the house rules. Imagine you started a new job and on Monday your boss tells you that you can wear jeans. Then on Tuesday he gets upset because you aren't in a suit. On Wednesday he says jeans are fine again. You would be stressed, confused, and you'd probably stop trusting anything that boss says. This is exactly what happens when you let your dog jump on you when you're wearing old gym clothes because it's cute, but then you scold them for doing the exact same thing when you're dressed up for a fancy dinner. To a dog, there is no such thing as sometimes. They crave a predictable world. When the rules change based on your mood or your outfit, your dog loses their sense of security. They stop looking to you for guidance because they can't predict your reaction. To keep that trust solid, you have to pick a lane and stay in it. If they aren't allowed on the sofa when guests are over, they shouldn't be on the sofa when it's just you. Clear boundaries are the greatest gift you can give a dog's confidence. Moving on to mistake number 2, we have to talk about the way we use eye contact. In the human world, looking someone in the eye is a sign of honesty and connection. In the dog world, a long, unblinking stare is a direct challenge. Have you ever noticed a stranger walk up to your dog and stare intently at their face while reaching over their head? Your dog likely backed away or tucked their tail. That's because, to them, that person was speaking a very aggressive language. Even with you, their favorite person, staring too long or too intensely during a tense moment can feel like a threat. It puts them on edge. If you find yourself staring your dog down when they've done something wrong, you aren't teaching them a lesson. You are making them worry about what you might do next. To build trust, try using soft eyes. Blink often, look slightly away, and let them be the one to initiate the deep gazes. When a dog looks at you with those soft, squinty eyes, they are saying they feel safe. Don't break that safety by turning your gaze into a spotlight. Mistake number 3 is a big one for the talkers out there, and that is using too many words and not enough body language. Dogs are masters of reading our physical cues. They watch the tilt of our shoulders, the tension in our hands, and the way we shift our weight. We, on the other hand, tend to babble. We say things like, "Hey buddy, can you please sit down for a second so I can put your leash on because we're going to the park?" All your dog hears is a rhythmic hum of noise. If you get frustrated because they aren't listening to your paragraph of a command, they start to see you as an unpredictable noisemaker. This creates a listening fatigue where they eventually just tune you out. When they tune you out, the bond of communication breaks. To fix this, simplify. Use consistent hand signals along with one-word cues. When your body and your voice say the same thing every single time, your dog feels like they finally have the secret decoder ring to your life. That clarity is a massive pillar of trust. Next up is mistake number 4, which is forcing them into social situations they clearly aren't ready for. We often want our dogs to be the social butterflies of the neighborhood. We want them to love the dog park, the busy outdoor cafe, and the loud family reunion. But every dog has a different social battery. If your dog is hiding behind your legs at the park or licking their lips and yawning, which are classic signs of canine stress, and you keep pushing them to go play, you are failing as their protector. You are essentially telling them, "I see you're uncomfortable, but I don't care." Once a dog realizes you won't step in to help them when they are scared, they stop trusting you to have their back. They might feel they have to handle the situation themselves, which can lead to reactive behavior. To build that trust back, be their bodyguard. If another dog is being too pushy, step in. If a child is being too loud, move your dog away. When your dog knows you are the manager of their safety, their trust in you will hit an all-time high. Mistake number 5 is something that happens in the heat of the moment, and that is shouting or using a loud, angry tone. Dogs have incredibly sensitive hearing, but more than that, they are hypersensitive to the emotional weather in the room. When you shout at your dog, they don't think, "Oh, I should reflect on my behavior and do better next time." Instead, they go into an emotional shutdown mode. Shouting is scary, and it's a form of unpredictability. A dog who is shouted at often becomes a Velcro dog out of fear, or they might start avoiding you altogether. They are essentially walking on eggshells, waiting for the next thunderclap. Trust is rooted in peace. You can be firm and set boundaries without ever raising your voice. A low, calm, and steady tone is actually much more effective at getting a dog's attention than a scream. If you take the drama out of your corrections, your dog will feel safe enough to actually learn from you. Now let's talk about mistake number 6, which is the tease and bait game. We've all seen videos of people pretending to throw a ball or holding a treat just out of reach to get a funny reaction. While it might seem like harmless fun to us, to a dog, it's a breach of contract. A dog's world is built on the belief that if you show them a resource, it's available. When you trick them, you are proving that you are an unreliable source of information. Imagine if you went to a restaurant and the waiter kept pulling the plate away every time you reached for it. You wouldn't find it funny. You'd feel frustrated, and you wouldn't trust that waiter. Over time, teasing can lead to resource guarding because the dog feels they have to snatch things quickly before you take them away. If you want a dog who trusts you completely, make sure your yes is always a yes. If you have a treat, give the treat. If you throw the ball, actually throw the ball. Being a person of your word matters just as much in the dog world as it does in the human world. Mistake number 7 is ignoring the subtle communication. Your dog is talking to you all day long, but they aren't using words. They use a low tail wag, a slight ear flick, or a whale eye where you see the whites of their eyes. If your dog is trying to tell you they are tired, hungry, or in pain, and you just keep patting them on the head and ignoring their signals, they start to feel invisible. It's like being in a relationship with someone who never listens to you. Eventually, you just stop trying to talk. This leads to a flat relationship where the dog is physically there but emotionally disconnected. To deepen that trust, become an expert in your dog's specific dialect. If they lean away when you try to hug them, honor that space. If they bring you a toy, give them 5 minutes of your time. When a dog feels heard, they lean into the relationship with a level of trust that is truly profound. Moving on to mistake number 8. We have the abrupt transition. Dogs are creatures of habit. They love a routine because routine equals safety. If you are the type of owner who suddenly grabs the dog, shoves them in the car, and drives them to the vet without any warning or warm-up period, you are creating a world of scary surprises. Of course, sometimes things have to happen quickly, but as often as possible, use bridge signals. If you're about to end a play session, give them a one more time cue. If you're heading to the car, show them the keys and give them a moment to process. When you rush a dog or surprise them with something they find unpleasant, you are teaching them that the sky could fall at any moment. By giving them prep time, you are showing them that you respect their autonomy. That respect is a massive foundation for trust. Mistake number 9 is a classic, and that is rushing the sniff time during walks. For a human, a walk is about exercise and getting from point A to point B. For a dog, a walk is about reading the neighborhood newspaper with their nose. A dog's sense of smell is their primary way of understanding the world. When you constantly tug on the leash and pull them away from a good sniff, it's the equivalent of someone snatching a book out of your hands every time you get to a good page. It's frustrating, and it makes the walk a chore rather than an adventure. More importantly, it shows a lack of empathy for what makes them happy. If the walk is supposed to be for them, let them lead with their nose for a bit. Slow down. Let them gather the information they need. Those few extra seconds of sniffing actually provide more mental stimulation than a mile of brisk walking. When you allow them that simple joy, they see you as a partner in their fun, rather than a boring leash holder. Then we have mistake number 10, which is a very human one, holding a grudge. Dogs live in the absolute now. If they chewed up your favorite shoe at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you come home at 6 and start acting cold or giving them the silent treatment, they have zero idea why. They don't connect your current anger with the 4-hour-old shoe disaster. All they see is that their favorite person came home and is now acting unstable or scary for no reason. This destroys their sense of safety with you. They start to fear your homecoming because they don't know which version of you is walking through the door. If you didn't catch them in the act, the window for correction is closed. Clean it up, take a deep breath, and move on. To build trust, you have to meet your dog in the present moment. Be the reliable, happy person they expect you to be, and save the shoe talk for a time when you can actually prevent the behavior in real time. Finally, mistake number 11 is failing to let them just be a dog. Sometimes we have such high expectations for our pets. We want them to be perfectly clean, perfectly quiet, and perfectly still. But dogs are biological beings with biological needs. They need to dig, they need to roll in smelly things occasionally, and they need to zoom around the house. If every canine behavior is met with a no or a stop it, the dog feels like their very existence is wrong. This leads to a hollow dog who is too afraid to do anything for fear of making a mistake. Trust involves a mutual understanding that you are two different species trying to live together. Give them an outlet for their doggy needs. Give them a dig box in the yard or a sniffery in the woods. When you celebrate their dogness, they will trust you with their whole heart because you are the person who understands them best. Why does all of this matter so much? Because a dog who doesn't trust is a dog who lives in a state of low-level anxiety. And anxiety is the root of almost every behavioral problem we see, from barking and chewing to more serious reactivity. When a dog trusts you, they are relaxed, their body is soft, their mind is open to learning, and their bond with you is a source of joy rather than stress. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be predictable. Think about the way trust works in a human relationship. It takes years to build and only a few moments to damage. It's the same with your pup. If you've made some of these mistakes, don't worry. The beauty of dogs is that they are incredibly resilient and grace-filled creatures. They want to trust you. They are looking for reasons to believe in you. You can start rebuilding that sandcastle today by just being a little more intentional. Start with the consistency. If the rule is no jumping, make it the rule for everyone, every time. That one change alone will lower your dog's stress levels by a huge margin. Then, look at your volume. If you've been a shouter, try being a whisperer for a week. See how your dog's ears change when you speak? See how they lean in toward you instead of cowering away. Next time you're on a walk, let the newspaper be the priority. Follow their nose for 10 minutes. Watch how happy they get when they realize you aren't going to tug the leash. That shared experience, where you are following their asterisk lead for once, is a massive trust builder. It shows them that their interests matter to you. We often call ourselves dog owners, but a better term might be canine ambassadors. We are the ones who have to bridge the gap between our two worlds. We are the ones with the big brains and the ability to understand complex body language. It is on us to make sure the translation is clear. Communication is the bridge of trust. Every time you correctly interpret your dog's yawn as a sign of stress and you move them to a quieter spot, you are adding a heavy stone to that bridge. Every time you give a treat for a behavior you like instead of just punishing one you don't, you are strengthening the pillars. Trust is also about the bank account. Every positive interaction, a game of fetch, a calm cuddle on the rug, a successful training session, is a deposit. Every mistake, a shout, a tease, a broken rule, is a withdrawal. The goal is to keep that balance as high as possible so that when life happens and you have to do something stressful like an emergency vet visit, the relationship can handle it. Most of our dogs spend their whole lives trying to figure us out. They watch us more than we watch them. They know our routines, our moods, and even our health better than we do sometimes. The least we can do is return the favor by making our world a little easier for them to navigate. If you notice your dog is being a bit avoidant, or if they don't seem as happy to see you as they once were, don't take it personally. Use it as data. Ask yourself, have I been a bit inconsistent lately? Have I been rushing the walks? Have I been a bit too loud? Use that information to pivot. Building trust is a lifelong process. It doesn't end after puppy class. It continues through their adult years and all the way into their senior days. In fact, as dogs age and their senses start to fade, their trust in you becomes even more vital. They need to know that you are the person who will guide them when they can't see as well or hear as well. The bond between a human and a dog is one of the most unique relationships in the animal kingdom. We are two different species who have decided to share our lives, our homes, and our hearts. That is a beautiful thing, but it's a fragile thing too. It requires maintenance. It requires us to step out of our human-centric view and think about how the world feels through a canine-centric lens. Think about the whale eye again. If you see that, don't get frustrated. That is your dog giving you a red light signal. They are saying, I'm overwhelmed. If you respect that red light, you are proving you are a safe person. If you push through it, you are proving you are an unpredictable person. It is in those tiny, 5-second moments that the biggest trust is either built or broken. We should also talk about the look of guilt. You know the one, the tucked tail, the averted eyes, the sorry look when you find a mess. Science has shown that this isn't actually guilt. It is a submissive appeasement behavior. The dog is reacting to your current body language and tone. They are trying to tell you, please don't be scary. If you continue to be upset when they are already showing this submissive posture, you are attacking a dog who is already trying to make peace. This is a massive breach of trust. When they say I'm sorry in dog language, the best thing you can do is accept it and move on to the solution. Let's go back to the body language mistake. Try this as an experiment. Spend a whole afternoon interacting with your dog without saying a single word. Use only your movements, your eyes, and your hands. You will be amazed at how much more focused your dog becomes. They stop waiting for the noise and start actually paying attention to you. It creates a bizarrely deep sense of connection that you just can't get through talking. Trust also means knowing that your dog isn't giving you a hard time, but rather having a hard time. If they are barking at the window, they aren't trying to annoy you. They are worried about a perceived threat. If you join them by shouting, you are just agreeing that there is something to be afraid of. If you calmly lead them away and give them something else to do, you are showing them that you have the situation under control. You are the anchor in their stormy world. As we conclude this deep dive into the canine heart, remember that your dog's trust is one of the most valuable things you will ever own. It is worth more than the fanciest collar, the most expensive food, or the most elite training. It is the magic ingredient that makes a dog a family member rather than just a pet. Every small mistake we talked about today is really just a moment of misalignment, and every fix is a moment of realignment. You has the power to change the emotional climate of your home starting right now. You has the ability to be the rock your dog needs. It takes a big person to admit they've been making mistakes with their pet, but the fact that you are here, listening and learning, shows that you are exactly the kind of owner your dog deserves. You are a person who values the bond. You are a person who wants to do better. So tomorrow morning, when your dog wakes you up with that thumping tail or that cold nose, look at them as a partner. Think about the sandcastle and the bank account. Make those choices that add grains and make deposits. Slow down, breathe, and let them be a dog. The payoff is incredible. There is nothing quite like the feeling of a dog who trusts you so much that they can fall into a deep, belly-up sleep in the middle of a room because they know you are there to protect them. There is nothing like a dog who looks at you in a scary situation and immediately relaxes because they know you've got it handled. That is the goal. That is the dream. The 11 mistakes we walked through today are just hurdles on the track. You can jump them. You can move past them. And on the other side is a relationship that is richer, deeper, and more peaceful than you ever thought possible. The science of dog behavior is constantly changing, but the principles of trust have remained the same for thousands of years. It's about being kind, being consistent, and being there. Your dog doesn't need a perfect owner. They just need a safe one. As you go about your day, pay attention to the little things. Notice the ear flicks. Notice the lip licks. Honor the stop signals. Celebrate the go signals. Be the person your dog thinks you are. If you can do that, you will have a bond that isn't just a sandcastle, but a fortress that can withstand anything life throws at it. The story of you and your dog is still being written. Make every chapter one about trust. Make every interaction one that says, I see you, I hear you, and I've got your back. Because when a dog gives you their trust, they aren't just giving you their behavior, they are giving you their soul. And that is a gift that is worth protecting at all costs. Final thought. Trust is not a destination, but a journey. It's a series of small yeses that add up to a life of love. So, say yes to the sniff, yes to the soft eyes, and yes to the calm connection. Your dog is waiting for you to lead the way. Stay curious, stay patient, and most of all, stay trustworthy. Your best friend is counting on you.